Chalo, chalo, we'll start. Close that. Chalo, na, let's move on to the next one. Fixed overhead variances. Ready? Okay. Fixed overhead cost variance will be divided into two. Okay, what is this one? Expenditure, efficiency. Correct? It's not efficiency here. Here it's going to be volume. Now volume will be further divided into three. Capacity, efficiency, calendar. Formulas will be like this: 1 minus 2, usual formulas only. 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, 1 minus 4, 5 minus 3. This is the only formula that you have to remember. The new one, which is 5 minus 3 for calendar variance. Sometimes capacity variance formula will be 4 minus 5 also. When is 4 minus 5? When is 4 minus 3? I'll tell you. Next. Let's write the formulas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as usual, before we get to the formulas, I already told you one thing is mandatory. What is that one thing, Nana? SR per hour, SR per unit. Kya re? So what is standard rate per hour? Budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted hours. What is standard rate per unit? Budgeted fixed overheads divided by budgeted output. Are you able to get me? Kya re? So as I told you, the same rule applies. What is the rule that I've told you? Nana, before solving any overhead related variance related sum, compulsorily you should have SR per hour and SR per unit with you. Either it will be directly given in the question, or if it is not directly given in the question, you calculate and then move on. Is it clear? But without knowing SR per hour and SR per unit, there is no question of calculation of either variable overhead variance or fixed overhead variance. Let me make it very clear. Okay, now coming on to the formula, quite a bit simple. First one, SH into SR per hour, or we know the alternative formula also, AO into SR per unit, correct? Just now we have learned. Arey bol here. Coming on to second one, actual fixed overheads. Third one, budgeted fixed overheads. Fourth one, actual hours into standard rate per hour. Last one, possible fixed overheads, which is nothing but budgeted fixed overheads into actual days by budgeted days. Now, what do you mean by formula 2 and formula 3? Is it really a formula? 2 and 3, it is not a formula. 2 is actual fixed overheads, 3 is budgeted fixed overheads. What do you mean by that? It means they will be directly given in the question. Suppose if they are not given in the question, quite a bit simple. Number of hours into rate per hour. Number of units into rate per unit. Quite a bit simple. Or here also, number of hours into rate per hour. Number of units into rate per unit. Correct? Kya re? Quite a bit simple. AH into SR per hour, we already know the alternative formula. SO into SR per unit. You remember that? Just now we have seen. SO means what? Standard output for actual hours worked. Complete it. Okay. What is SO? Standard output for actual hours worked. You got this? Okay, now as usual, before I get to the explanation part, I will round up the frequently used formulas. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, these are all the frequently used formula, which means when we're actually solving a sum, first we'll try to put all these formulas. Okay, AO and SR per unit for formula 1, AFOH for formula 2, BFOH for formula 3, AH into SR per hour for formula 4, and BFOH into AD by BD for formula 5. In case we are not able to get the solution because of applying these formulas, then only we'll go for the alternative one. Are you able to get me? Kya re? Kuch samjha? Alright, now let's get to the explanation part. My first question. AH means, you tell me, AHP or AHW? You see there, think and then answer. See there, think and then answer. You're seeing it now on the board. See there, think and then answer. AH means AHP or AHW? AHP or AHW? AHW. Array, common sense here. Formula 4. You see formula 4 where it is coming? Here. Here. It is part and parcel of volume variance. So obviously volume will be there only when you work. Samjha? Simple logic. When I ask you something, try to look at the clues and then try to think. Only then you will be able to get the answer. I can easily tell them, I mean, just in one sentence, saying that Nana AH means AHW. What is the use of saying like that? Aisa what? You know, if something is like this, if I say that, it's not gonna work. You should try to think it on your own. Only then it works. Got it? Are we done with this? Kya re? Alright. If you have copied completely, then I'll start explaining. Copy that first, entire page. Because this is important for us at final level. Kya re? Possible fixed overheads. PFOH means possible fixed overheads. AD is actual days divided by BD means budgeted days. PFOH means possible fixed overheads. AD means actual days. BD means budgeted days. Are we done? Okay, now let's start one by one. First of all, we'll start with expenditure variance. Now, looking at this expenditure variance, tell me one thing. It's quite a bit easy to understand. What is 3, Nana? Budgeted fixed overheads. What is 2, Nana? Actual fixed overheads. So it's quite a bit simple that your expenditure variance is the difference between budgeted fixed overheads and actual fixed overheads. Is that clear? Obviously, that is difference in expenditure only, na? If you thought that your budgeted fixed overheads is, say, for example, 1 lakh, and your actual fixed overheads is, say, for example, 1,20,000, then that is difference in your expenditure, which you have thought initially, right? So it is expenditure variance, quite a bit simple. Volume variance is also quite a bit simple only because I've already explained you twice. Once, when we were looking into the concept of absorption as part and parcel of decision making chapter. When I was explaining you marginal costing versus absorption costing, along with that I explained you the concept of absorption as well when we have solved one good sum based on marginal costing versus absorption costing. 2, when I started with standard costing yesterday, at that time also I told you that there are 3 types of overheads: budgeted overheads, absorbed overheads, actual overheads, and the difference between budgeted overheads and absorbed overheads is nothing but volume. Did I tell you that? By looking at that, you have to understand here 1 minus 3. What is 1? What is 1? Absorbed overheads, or you can also call it as standard overheads. Standard fixed overheads in this case. And what is 3? Budget. You see here, it's quite a bit simple, na? Here also SR per unit, same. So what is the difference? AO here, BO here. So basically the difference is volume only, right? Kya re? And that's why it is volume variance. Kya re aisa what? The Mukku fellows. You got this? Right. Next. Okay, why there is a difference in volume? You have 3 reasons for that. Reason 1 is capacity, reason 2 is efficiency, reason 3 is what, Nana? Calendar. Now capacity, everybody knows that it is a difference in capacity obviously. But then why there is another formula called 4 minus 5? It is because of calendar variance. What is calendar variance first of all? Calendar variance means, let's say suppose you have planned your working days in a month as 28 for example. But because of some strike or something or some calamity has happened in your city because of floods or something like that, you were able to work your factory only for 25 days. So that's the change in calendar. You thought that you should be working for 28 days. That was your budgeted days, whereas your actual days was only 25. Now tell me, because of this, will your capacity gets affected? Yes. Your capacity gets reduced. That is why whenever there is calendar, which is formula 5, whenever there is calendar, which is formula 5, your formula for capacity variance will be 4 minus 5. Are you able to get me? Sometimes, when you read the question, you will not find any information with respect to calendar whatsoever. You will not find actual days in the question. You will not find budgeted days in the question. By not finding that information, you should be able to understand that, okay, there is no calendar variance in this sum. Which means, your volume variance will be divided into only two: capacity, efficiency. 2, phi will not come. Formula phi will not come. 3, formula for capacity variance will be 4 minus 3. Are you able to understand? So totally 3 changes. If calendar variance is there, then all these things will come, and formula for capacity variance will be 4 minus 5. So when you are reading the question, there is no information with respect to calendar. That is, actual days is not given, Burchard days is not given. Quite a bit simple. It means that your calendar variance will not come, which means 5 minus 3. This will not come. Kya re? This will not come. And here the formula will be 4 minus 3 only. 4 minus 5 won't be there. And this also won't be there. This also won't be there. Got the point? Arey bol yaar. Samjha? Alright. Okay. Okay, that's it. We are done with this. But I've got one question from you. Probably when I've started writing this, fixed overhead variances, when I've written this classification, you should have got one doubt actually. Unfortunately, you didn't. What is that doubt? Are you able to get it at least now? Just by looking at it. By looking at the classification that I've written. Any doubt you have got? Any doubt? Sir, this should not be like this, na. Something like that. Are you comfortable with everything that I've written? What I've written is correct only. Don't worry about that. Okay, but then, did you get any sort of, sometimes you'll have that feeling, na? That it's hitting you inside. Something is wrong. What is that? Huh. Hmm. Volume variance, basically it's a difference between Butstead overheads and absorbed overheads only, because the basic difference is volume there. There's nothing problem in that. But there's another question that you are missing. You are missing a picture over here. Anybody in the class? Really? These many people are there? Nothing? Are a simple logic here. What is the variance that we are studying right now? What is the basic nature of fixed overheads? It remains fixed irrespective of change in volume. Then why do you have volume variance? It's a basic question, right? The nature of fixed overheads is such that it remains fixed irrespective of change in volume. Which means even though volume changes, your fixed overheads should remain constant. In that case, there is no question of volume variance first of all. But we do have volume variance. My question is why? You should have got that doubt actually. In fact, in IPCC only you should have got it. But as usual, we have this disease, right? We take it for granted. That's it. Ye to hai, ye hai. That's it. I should not question. No. You see? These kind of thought process will make the subject interesting, as well as it will make things rather easy. I'll tell you the importance of asking you this, because if you don't know this, almost some 10% of your standard costing is lost. Once I explain you the logic behind this, then you will understand what is the importance of knowing logics like this. And that is the reason many of the times people feel that standard costing is difficult. It's because of things like this only. And they end up by-hearting things. And once you by-heart, obviously when you get a new sum in the examination, you'll, gone. Hmm. Okay, there is one word answer. That reason is concept of absorption. I need not explain you again, because already I explained you the concept of absorption, correct? What is concept of absorption basically? I do not know what my actual overheads are right at the beginning of the year. But unfortunately, since costing is a continuous process, right from day one, I have to, manufacture and sell the goods. So for that, I need to fix selling price. To fix selling price, I need total cost plus profit. To get total cost per unit, I should know direct cost per unit as well as overhead cost per unit. But I don't know overhead cost per unit. But still, I can find it by going for 3 steps, which we have learned in overhead chapter in IPCC, correct? Primary distribution, secondary distribution, and absorption. The other problem is I don't know what's my actual overheads are, but I have to wait till year end to get it. But in practical, Practically, you can't. So if you don't know what's your actuals are, the only choice for you is to go with expected or budgeted overheads. And thereby you calculate budgeted overheads, you divide it with predominant influencing factor, and then you get absorption rate calculated before the beginning of the year. And with absorption rate, you multiply with actual output that has been produced. So which means because of change in output, what you observe will change. So here volume variance also talks about absorbed overheads that has changed because of change in volume. In reality, your fixed overheads will remain constant only. Your budgeted fixed overheads will remain constant. Your actual fixed overheads also will remain constant irrespective of change in volume. What changes with respect to fixed overheads is not these two. The nature of fixed overheads still remains the same. Absorbed fixed overheads will change. In the sense, you will absorb either more or you'll absorb either less because of change in volume. And that's what the concept. So fixed overheads, the nature of it is still intact. It is not getting disturbed. But what is getting disturbed is what? The amount of fixed overheads that you will observe. So if there is change in units, the observed overheads will change. I already told you when I explained you the concept of absorption that, see, instead of going for budgeted overheads, absorbed overheads is better concept. Why? Because absorbed overheads is a mix of actual and budget, correct? Because your rate is budget and your units are actuals. So thereby the complete number as a result of actual and budget will be more nearer to your actual overheads, which you will know at the end of the year, rather than going with budgets, pure budgets. That is the whole concept. Are you able to understand? Because I don't know what my actuals are, because I'll know it only at the end of the year. Then I'm left with only two choices. Actually, only one choice. Go with budgeted overheads. But then somebody came up with a brilliant idea saying that if you completely go with budgets, then the chances of variation between budget and actuals will be even more higher. Rather, you calculate the rate and you multiply that with actual output. Thereby, your number that you are observing in your costing P&L account will be lot more nearer to your actual overheads. Thereby, the variance will be much less, and that's a better way of doing business. You see the concept behind creation of observed overheads? Bol re. Now coming on to the crucial point. So now you know that as such, your fixed overheads will not change because of change in volume. The only thing is the amount of fixed overheads that you will observe will increase or decrease because of change in volume. Now, what is the importance of understanding this logic? Quite a bit simple. Concept of absorption is there only under absorption costing method or system. So as per absorption costing system, you have three types of overheads, correct? Bol re. As per which system? Absorption costing system. Correct? So thereby you'll be having something called budgeted overheads, absorbed overheads, and actual overheads. But when it comes to marginal costing, there is no such thing called concept of absorption. When there is no concept of absorption, there is no observed overheads. So which means as per marginal costing, you are having only two types of overheads. One is budgeted, other one is actual. There is no such thing called absorbed overheads, which means there is no formula 1. There is no formula 1. When there is no formula 1, there is no question of 1 minus 3. Which means as per marginal costing, there is no volume variance. So which means if you calculate fixed overhead variances as per marginal costing, there is only one variance for you, and that variance is what variance? What variance? Expenditure variance, exactly. Kya re? Are you able to understand? That is the trick. You see, because of understanding this logic only, you were able to appreciate this thing. So when you are doing reconciliation or when you are preparing reconciliation statement and you are trying to calculate variances as per which system? Marginal costing system, you should clearly know that fixed overhead volume variance won't come because it can't be calculated, because there is no such thing called observed fixed overheads. There is no formula 1. When there is no 1, there is no question of 1 minus 3. You see? Based on that small logic, akkada pattukoni lagite, you see how much change it is making. Are you able to understand? That's the power of understanding logics. And that's important for us because under new syllabus, even under old syllabus also, reconciliation is always favorite area for the examiner. And that's the area where most of our friends, they either try to by heart it or they leave it for choice. But the honest opinion of mine is it's the most easiest path where you can gain good amount of marks, rather than trying decision making. You understand that? You got this, all of you? So that is the logic. Anyway, once I go to reconciliation, once we solve the sum, there I'll give you notes for this. Now you need not take care of it. Is that clear? But I just told you the importance of knowing why there is volume variance under fixed overhead. Right? Okay, done. Are we done with copying this? You copied all these things? Right, chalo. Let's move on to the last one. With this, we'll be done with all the concepts. In fact, honestly, it is not all the concepts because there's a lot more concepts to come. But those concepts will be going through that when we solve the sums. Right now, we'll not be doing it at the beginning itself. Chalo, next one. Sales variances. Last of the concepts. What is that, Nana? Sales variances. Are we ready? Okay. First, I'll go with total approach, Nana. First, I'll go with total approach. So, total sales variance will be divided into two. Sales price variance, sales volume variance. Sales volume variance will be further divided into two. Okay. Sales mix variance, sales quantity variance. Formulas remain the same: 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, and then what? 1 minus 4. Let's write all the four. Okay, what is the first one, Anna? Okay, first you copy till here, then I'll explain the logic and then I'll move on. Copy till here. Are you done with this? Okay, now see, Anna. First thing that you have to understand when it comes to sales variance is there is no such thing called standard. In sales variances, there is no such thing called standard. Because standard is something that we have created with respect to input allowed for output. That is a concept, right? What is standard? Input allowed for output. When I talk about sales variances, I'm directly talking about output. So there is no concept of output again for output, and that is why there is no such thing called standard. So here you have only two concepts. One is budget, and the other one is what, Nana? Actual. Kya re? One is budget, and the other one is what? Actual. There is no such thing called what? Exactly. There is no such thing called standard. Am I clear? Kya re? Right. Now, based on that, you tell me the formula. See, try to recollect your material variances formula. It's exactly the same with only two differences. Difference number one. In material variance, you would have used standard versus actual cost, correct? Here it is budget versus actual. So wherever there is standard, you replace it with budget. That is difference number one. Difference number two, there you talk about raw metals, here I talk about finished goods. That is what you have to keep in mind. Everything else is same. For example, formula 1, you tell what is the formula for material variance? SQ into SP. Here it should be what? BQ into BP. Because there is no such thing called standard. Replace standard with budget. Second one, what is the formula? AQ into AP there. Here also AQ into AP only. Third one, AQ into SP. But here it is AQ into BP because standard is prohibited. Last, RAQ into BP. Are you able to understand? Quite a bit simple. Okay, the logics, everything is same. But the only difference is there we talk about raw materials, different types of raw materials. Here we talk about finished goods, different types of finished goods. Everything else is same. Of course, keeping that main point, that is here there is no concept of word called standard because we are directly talking about output. So there is no concept of input towards output. Are you able to understand? Thereby here we have only one, either budget or actual. There is nothing in between. Only if input comes, then there will be three logics: planned input, actual input, and input that is allowed for actuals. Are you able to understand? Bol Ray. Got this? Okay, chalo. Next, what is the next approach we have? Margin approach. Okay, very simple. Total sales margin variance. Total sales margin variance will be divided into sales price margin variance, sales volume margin variance. Sales volume margin variance will be divided into sales mix margin variance, sales quantity margin variance. Formulas remains the same: 1 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, 1 minus 4. Now it's exactly the same for everything. I've just added the word margin. Beyond that, I did not do anything. Is it clear? It's exactly the same. I've just added the word margin. You got it? Guys, now you can easily guess the formulas now. What are the formulas? First one is BQ into BP earlier. It is BQ into BM. In the place of price, I'll get margin. Second one is actual quantity into actual margin. Actual quantity into budgeted margin. Revised actual quantity into budgeted margin. You got this? Kya re? Right. So for all the variances, I've just added the point called margin. I've done nothing else. Are we done? Okay, Nana. Now, how to calculate this budgeted margin? See here. Budgeted margin. Margin is nothing but profit, correct? So budgeted margin is nothing but budgeted selling price, or budgeted profit is nothing but budgeted selling price minus budgeted cost per unit or standard cost per unit. Obvious. What is actual margin? The usual guesswork will be obviously actual selling price minus actual cost per unit, but it is not. Instead, it is what, Nana? Standard cost per unit. You got this? Now, what is the logic behind that? Let's try to understand that with an example. Budget price, let's say it is 30. Okay. Next, what do you say? Standard cost is, say, for example, 20. What will be your budgeted margin? 10. Actual price is, say, for example, 25. Actual cost is, say, for example, 10. What is your actual margin? 15. Now there is a difference of 5 rupees. I wantedly took the wrong formula. Is that clear? Actually, the formula should be actual price minus standard cost. But then I've taken what? Actual cost intentionally. Only to explain you what is the logic behind this. Okay, now see here. Let's say our Pranay is there. Okay, Pranay is a qualified chartered accountant who is working as, maybe cost accountant of that respective company. And then let's say I've asked you to prepare variance analysis report and then asked you to bring it over. And you prepared report like this and you bought me over. Okay, I'm asking him. Okay, Pranay, budget margin is 10, actual margin is 15. Okay, we had a difference of margin of how much? 5 rupees. Can you please explain me why? Explain. Why there is a difference of 5? I make it fast here. Does it take that much of time to explain why there is a difference of 5 rupees? Why? Kya re? What is that? That is the answer. See, Pranay, I used to have when I was studying BIPC in intermediate, we used to have a chemistry faculty. Okay. Whenever during the study hours evening, when we go and ask him the doubt, he used to say like this. Suppose the question is like this. He used to say, Are, idundira? Idundara? Ikkada chudra. 2 liters of water with 3 liters of borax. Okay, దీన్ని మిక్స్ చేస్తే ఓకే ఇది వస్తుందిరా. అదేరా ఇక్కడ ఇది ఉంది కదా, దట్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ ఫార్మ్ దిస్ వే. అదేరా ఇక్కడ నీకు అర్థమవుతుందా? వాడు ఇట్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ ఫార్మ్ దిస్ వే అనేసి అన్నాడురా, లేదంటే వేరేలాగా ఉండేది. నీకు అర్థమవుతుందా? రే రే ప్రణయ్, చెప్పేది వినరా, నువ్వు వింటేనే కదా అర్థమవుతుంది నీకు. ఇక్కడ ఉందా, ఇది ఉంది కదా, ఇది. అరే ఇక్కడ వాడు అది ఇచ్చున్నాడు రా, అందువల్ల అది అలా ఉంది, లేదంటే అలా ఉండేది కాదు. నీకు అర్థమైందా? యు అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్, రైట్? థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ సార్. When I asked you what is the difference between budgeted margin and actual margin, what should be your answer? You should try to explain. You are saying Ak is Pak is Ak Pak Kare Pak. How it's going to work? Huh? Mokku fellow. You tell me why there is a difference of margin of 5. Explain. Okay, for the moment, presume that I am Pranay. Okay. Okay, biryani boy. Chalo, suppose if you have asked me the same question, can you please explain me the difference of 5? My answer will be like this. Mr. Mukku Vice President, see here. Okay, there's a difference of 5 rupees here. It's because of change in price as well as change in cost. Similarly, it may be due to material cost or labor cost or variable overheads or fixed overheads or any combination of this. Similarly, it may be due to material price variance or usage variance or mix variance or yield variance or any combination of this with any combination of the other cost. Similarly, it may be due to labor rate variance or efficiency variance or mix variance or yield variance with any combination of this with any combination of material. Similarly, it may be due to variable overheads expenditure or variable overhead efficiency with any combination of this with any combination of labor with any combination of material. Similarly, it may be due to fixed overhead expenditure variance or volume variance or capacity or efficiency or calendar with any combination of this with any combination of variable overheads with any combination of labor with any combination of material. You understand the point? So this is the real answer. So as I told you at the beginning of the class, this chapter itself, if at all you get a formula, after applying the formula, whatever the number that you get, you should be able to use it. But am I able to use this number 5 here or 10 or 15? No. Are you able to understand? So thereby, this is not the right formula because it doesn't help me or in whatever, because my explanation was correct only, but then what do you do with this 5? You can't do anything. So therefore, take this number away, put it instead standard cost, which is 20. Then this will be what? 5. Then the difference is again 5. But now you can explain the reason. Why there is a difference of 5? Simply due to change in price. Due to change in price. You see? Also, I've already told you that there should be only one change when you're calculating, correct? Here both price and cost is changing. It doesn't make any sense. That's another logic. Third logic is, already for cost variances, anyway, you're calculating them separately. Na? So when it comes to sales variances, why do you allow your cost variances to creep inside the sales variances? Is the basic logic. So in sales variances, when I'm calculating sales variances, I'll presume that my cost is constant. And I'll concentrate only on the change in profit because of change in selling price or quantity that you have sold. And here I should not allow my cost variances to creep inside and destroy it, correct? Because anyway, cost variances I'm calculating separately. Are you able to understand? So that's the logic. So there are quite a bit of logics, and that is why when it comes to actual margin also, your standard cost only will remain constant, because basically your cost remains constant when you're calculating sales variances. You got the point? Yeah. Yes, but here the purpose is different. Na? My purpose of calculating sales variances is only to find out what is my effect of change in price or change in quantity sold on my actual profit. To find that effect, my cost should remain constant. Only then I'll understand because of sales what has happened. If cost also changes, means it will be because of change in sales and cost, then my number will not be useful for me. Got the point? Kya re? Done with the logics? Yes? Alright. Okay, then at the beginning of the chapter, I already told you that your, what is that? Sales margin approach has been further classified into as per marginal costing system and absorption costing system. Did I tell you that? So here I gave you the formulas for margin approach, but I did not tell you which approach it is. So this I will again classify into two approaches. What are the two approaches we have got? Marginal costing system, and the other one is absorption costing system. Correct? What is the basic difference, sir? Very simple, sir. As per marginal costing system, your budgeted margin will be budgeted selling price minus standard variable cost per unit. And your actual margin will be actual selling price minus standard variable cost per unit. So it is going to be contribution. This and this are going to be what, Nana? Contribution as per marginal costing system. So your margin will be contribution. Whereas as per absorption costing system, your budgeted margin is equal to budgeted price, you can easily guess, minus total standard cost per unit. And your actual margin is equal to actual price minus total standard cost per unit, correct? Which means as per absorption costing system, these two, they basically mean what? Profits. Whereas as per marginal costing system, those two numbers, which means margin means contribution. As per absorption costing system, margin means profit. Are you able to get me? Arey bol yaar. That's the thing. Got this? All of you. Fantastic. Chalanan, that's it. We are done with all the concepts. Right? Of course, there are a lot of other concepts now, like planning variance, operational variances, market share variance, size variance, single plan, partial plan. Okay. Growth variances, like so many things are there, but that will be learning as and when we solve the sum. Right now, if we try to learn everything, it's not going to be possible also. We should learn it then and there when we solve the sum. Are you able to understand? But to kickstart the chapter, these concepts are enough for us. Got it? So copy this. With this, we'll wind up the session today. Tomorrow, what you should do? Revise these concepts, keep it on your fingertips, and then come to the class. I'm very serious about it. Is that clear? Because this is the foundation. On this, we're going to build a lot. If you're not sure with this, then on this, if I tell you the further logics, you'll not be able to understand. Are you able to understand? Because this is your IPC level still. So IPCC, this is enough. On this only, we'll be working out this only. But here, that's not the case. This is basics. Upon this, we are going to build a lot. So if you're not sure with the basics and you're thinking about the formula, is it 1 minus 2 or 1 minus 3? Ye to gaya. Because I'll be building something beyond the formula. Presuming that you already know the formula. Are you able to understand? Formula itself is a question mark for you in the tomorrow's class. Then the next level I can't build. Are you able to understand? For example, the very second question that we are going to solve is going to be based on reconciliation. What is reconciliation? I'll be calculating all the variances. And then I'll be reconciling. There I'll tell you how to reconcile and what are the different methods. Why a particular method should be reconciled in a particular way. What are the logics behind that? There I'll not be again concentrating on the formula. I'll not be teaching you again this is 1 minus 2, try to learn. And you are again thinking that 1 minus 2 or 1 minus 3, I don't know. What is 1, I don't know. What is material variance, I don't know means ye to gaya. Because your sums are going to be at different level at your final. Am I clear? And of course, this chapter is important both for your new syllabus and old syllabus because 95 to 9, not 95, 99% of the cases compulsory question will be there. Luckily, in your attempt, if there is an easy question that comes from this chapter, it's a jackpot only for you because anyway, it is 80% format based. Even though you have to apply the logics, but still it is format based chapter only. So it's unlike your decision making, lot more safer. Kya? You got this? So tomorrow, what's your job? Revise this, keep it on your fingertips. So first, once I come to the class, I'll ask you the formulas. Once you are sure with this, then only I'll go with next level. Are you able to understand? Kya re? Right, chal. Let's move on.